In question number 3, it says circle the expression or expressions that are equal to 3/5 times 6. So there's at least one of these that when you solved it or evaluated the expression would be equal to the same thing as 3/5 of 6. And then if you didn't circle it, you had to tell why it's not equal. How did you know? So you could use words, you could use pictures, or you could use numbers. So I'm not going to solve this one, but we're going to take a look at a question actually from your homework that looks really similar. So if we go to this, I'm going to kind of ignore those directions that are there, and I'm just going to treat it the exact same way. I'm going to say, oh, but we need that phrase. So we're going to pretend it's the same thing. We're going to say, what's the same as this? Okay, 6 times 3/8. Well, I'm going to start with this one. This is 3/8 times 6. So these are the exact same two numbers. They're just switched places, and we know that switching the order for multiplication doesn't work. So these two are definitely equal. When I look at this one, I don't think this one's going to work because here I'm making copies of eighths and here I'm making copies of thirds. So this does not work. And if I was going to write out something, I would say what I just said. I'm making copies of thirds. I'm not making copies of eighths. Eighths and thirds aren't equal, so that doesn't work. What about this one? If I wrote this out like a fraction, 8 divided by 6 times 3, ooh, I would be making copies of sixths, but I'm supposed to be making copies of eighths. So this isn't going to work. If I rewrote this one all the way over 8, because I am making copies of eighths as we've talked about, I would have 6 times 3, and then I'd be dividing what that is by 8. Well, this is 6 times 3. I'm dividing it by 8, so this one does work. If I rewrote this one as a fraction, it would really look exactly the same as when I rewrote this one as a fraction. If I take a look at this, I've got 3 divided by 8, and that's what I would do first. Well, 3 divided by 8, written like a fraction. Oh, looks just like this, and then I'm multiplying by 6. So same amounts, just different order, and that doesn't matter for multiplication, so that works. If I wrote this, I'd have to be doing this first, so this would be on top. This actually wouldn't be on top. This would be on top. Would be taking 8 and I would dividing it by 3 times 6. So this is kind of this flipped over, and I don't think that's going to be the same. I'm going to be making 18ths here. This is actually going to be less than 1, so that one doesn't work. Okay, so I could do a lot of things here to show why the ones I crossed out are not equal to this. I could solve them, and I could solve this one and show that my solutions are not the same. I could do the things I talked about where I'm making copies of sixths here, or I'm making copies of thirds here, and I'm really supposed to be making copies of eighths. Lots of different ways that I could do that, but the important thing is to identify which ones are the same and which ones aren't. They don't have to look exactly the same. You'll notice when we go back to this, these all have the same numbers in them. So what the math you're doing with those numbers, evaluating the parentheses to see what you do first, those are all the really important things. Good luck.